Hello everyone, this is Ricky Thomas with Advantage Gambling Concepts, and I'm here to conduct a small little training session, and this is my little training area. It consists of a simple table with, of course, the cloth felt. I used to have the real craps wall, but I don't have it now. I have my chips. Oh, just in case you're curious about my friend over there, that's the Bubba Dummy used for martial arts training. But these are my chips right here. I'm gonna just show you. I picked these up at the gambling store in Old Town Vegas, and as you can see, they have different denominations on them. It's the red is the $5, and we have the green, which is $25, and of course we have the beloved black, which is $100, and they got the Las Vegas thing on them. I'm gonna put these chips back real quick. We'll play with these in a minute. Alright. And then over here I have, this is what I call currency chips. Okay? And the reason I call them currency chips is I train with them. As you can see, I have a stack of red right here, which is approximately $105. And I play with those, and that's one of the ways I keep score. That's why I call it currency chips. These are training chips. I use these to kind of supplement my training. Well, they're all training chips, but like I said, I use those for like game simulation. I use these also for game simulations, but what I'll do with these chips is I'll put them kind of like on the board right there. That way, whenever the dice come tumbling down this table, there's a chance they might hit that stack of chips. Kind of like what you see in real life. You have to simulate actual playing conditions whenever you're conducting craps training. And the reason for that is the more realistic you're training, the better your results are going to be. Alright, so where that comes into play is, as we all know, you'll be playing in Vegas and people will have like stacks of chips on these stacks of chips on over here, and when you throw the dice, there's a chance that one of the dice might actually hit one of the chips and then just kind of bounce everywhere, and next thing you know, it's a number that you hoping would not come up. So you have to this kind of helps you to work on your eye-hand coordination. Eye-hand coordination is very important in craps training. The reason being is you gotta aim. You see that part of the table over there, where the pass line is? A lot of times I'll aim for that, okay? Another thing I like to do is I'll take a single chip and I'll put it somewhere and I'll try to hit that with the dice. It works out your eye-hand coordination. I'll probably do that in another video. Okay, so those are the chips that I use for training. Like I said, these are currency chips, or I use these for game simulations, realistic game simulations. I'm about to go through a game right now. That's why I have 100 in chips out. 105 actually, because we know we can't make bets on the 6 and 8 without some ones. Unfortunately, I didn't get any ones. Okay, these are the dice that I use for my training. It has the logo or the name of the or the initials of the casino that they were from. These are real dice. They're real casino dice. They're retired, okay? And when they are retired, of course, you see the registration number on them. When I pull these dice out, you'll see the casino logo on them. I'll see if I can maybe zoom and make it a little bit more, so you can actually see it. Holy cow, that is small. No, you really can't see the logo on this thing. I've never been to this casino before. It's the GWR, is it? I don't really know. Okay. I got these because I noticed that the last time I was in Vegas, there was like, you know, training dice and such. I went to the gambling store in Vegas and I picked up some dice. These particular dice wouldn't be very great to train with. As you can see, even though they're from the same casino and they're the same set of dice, as you can see, they're very, very, very much different. You see how the one on the right is a lot darker than the one on the left? You really shouldn't be training with this one on the right. The one on the left isn't so bad. Okay. The darker that these chips are, the heavier that they are. So, given that one is darker than the other, and you can kind of clearly see it. Given that one is darker than the other, one's heavier than the other, so that would throw the balance of your throws off. I still train with it though, you know. I know I said you shouldn't, but I'm the kind of guy who likes to work with what I have, and I have my notorious on and off button. Okay, this is another die that I got. This one doesn't have the casino logo on it. I don't know what the deal is there. I like the ones with the casino logo on it. Okay, this one, as you can see, is from the Palms Casino. I like the Palms Casino. It's pretty cool. Let's pop this one open and see what it looks like. There you go. You see how clear and transparent it is? These dice are still good, and of course I love the logo on them. I think that's cool. The casino logo, yeah, I really like that. There you go, and they're both pretty transparent. Okay, so these would be pretty good dice to train with. I'll probably do most of my training with those, maybe. Although I'll train with these just to kind of see how I do with adversity. One die being heavier than the other will, of course, like I said, will throw off the balance. This one is from Binions. Oh, this is exciting. What kind of die do we have here? And we got the code 0972. Feel like it's, and we got the casino logo on it. Wonderful. I like that. That's some good stuff right there. Yeah, these are some good training dice right here. I think the Palms one is probably better than all of these. This one right here is a little dark. All right, so. These are all good dice you can train with, okay? I mean, like I said, sometimes you gotta work with what you got. Am I saying this correctly? Is it Bally's or Bally's? I don't know. I'm not sure how you say that, but here we go. I'm gonna pop this one open. The Bally's Casino. If I'm saying it incorrectly, I'm sorry. Here we go. There's the casino logo, and where's that mysterious code? Oh, we got like two things here. That's wonderful. Okay, so we have I think that's the code right there. And then we have the casino name. And then of course we have something else right there. Is in Las Vegas. But where's that thing at? That I just saw. Here we are. What is that? I have no idea what that is. Maybe that's like some kind of logo thing or something. I don't know. So they have the name and they have some kind of image on there. Very cool. Very very nice stuff. I think I'm going to train with the Palms one. Okay. So, I don't know if any of you watching this video have been to Vegas recently. I recently went there not too long ago. And I stayed on the Strip and played and everything. I'm sorry to say, I got my ass handed to me this time. I lost. And I wish I could tell you guys some good news. I wish I could give you guys like a positive update. I know I haven't been making videos and I'm sorry. COVID-19 really threw me for a loop and I'm still working. For those of you who don't know me, I'm kind of like a gambler, but I do like social work and stuff. I won't talk about the population that I work with, but I do social work. I have a master's in psychology. So I'm kind of like a guy with a job and academic aspirations, but essentially gambling is just where my passion is. Okay, but anyways, getting back to my trip to Vegas, where I got my beat down. I stayed at the Excalibur, and they just recently opened. Playing at the casino was different this time. Of course, safety is the casino's concern. They are they've taken steps to try to make the gaming safer for their players. Essentially, when I went to the craps table, there was glass between the players, and the 6-foot rule had to be observed at all times. They also required that you wore a mask. One of the things that I really liked when I played was that they actually disinfected the dice after each and every roll. They wiped down the tables. The only thing that really wasn't getting disinfected was the chips themselves. But I used a lot of hand sanitizer and I even wore gloves. I'm trying to protect myself. So, yeah. Alright, so I have a story for you guys, okay? Before we start this training session. And my story is kind of a sad one. I was very angry. I'm still very upset over my trip that I had. Again, where I experienced a defeat here. Although I didn't really lose any money, I sort of broke even. But that's all beside the point. I'm gonna get down to it. Okay, so when I went to the craps table, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I arrived in Vegas like a little after midnight. I was in a very long line trying to check into the hotel. This line just snaked all the way back to practically where the door was. It was just ridiculously long. I was waiting, and I finally got into my room, and around 1-ish, I was ready to go, ready to hit the floor and start playing. I walked up to the craps table, and I realized that there's no longer like the minimum bet. Like sometimes it's like $5. The minimum bet at this table was $15. Okay, I went to the table with $100, thinking that I can play, but I was preparing for either a $5 or a $10 table maximum. I was not prepared to play at a $15 minimum bet table. Now you're probably thinking like, well, you have $100. Like, what gives? I mean, that's enough money. That is not enough money to play at a table where the minimum bet is $15. It just isn't. You can lose the money. Even a skillful player can lose money very, very easily. Whenever you play a game like craps, you want to make sure that you have the bankroll to withstand the inevitable, I don't know, bad luck season or losing streak, whatever it is you want to call it. The thing that I refer to it as dice fluctuations. Okay, you know, you never know what these crazy dice are going to do. You really don't. All right. So essentially, when I'm talking about dice fluctuations, I'm talking about when you get those freakish numbers that it's almost like a mathematical anomaly, but it happens. Okay, so for example, one time I was playing at a casino, and I put $5 on the pass line. At that time, in the good old days, the minimum bet was $5, and I rolled a 3, so that went bye-bye. So then I put another $5 on the pass line. I rolled again. I hit another 3. That went bye-bye. And this went on like 5 or 6 times. It was ridiculous. Now, you're probably thinking like, well, you should have, put money on the craps check, or, you should have hedged it in some way or whatever. Got yourself some insurance. Yeah, I should have, but I didn't. And I lost some money, and there you have it. But the point is sometimes you get numbers that are just crazy. I'm talking, like I said, you never know what these crazy dice are going to do. They tumble, they roll. Sometimes out of the 36 combinations, there's like one number to beat you, and that's the one that just happens to keep coming up. So it seems like that. I know that's not the way it is, but it seems like that sometimes. So the bottom line is you gotta have about 40 minimum bets to play at the table. Now, if the table, of course, was only $5, I still wouldn't have the 40 minimum bets. But I think I would be all right. Okay, if it's the $10 table, I definitely don't have the 40 minimum bets. Okay. So I went down there knowing I would be a little short-handed, but at a $5, $10 table, I knew I would be okay. $15 table, I wasn't so sure. All it takes is one little unlucky streak, and those minimum bets will crush you like a worm if you only have $100, okay? Some of the tables I saw, the minimum bets were like $25 and upwards. I saw one table where the minimum bet was $50. I mean, it was just incredible. And of course, the obvious reason why Vegas is doing this is because they're trying to make up for their losses as a result of COVID-19. And I think that's despicable because, we're supposed to be in this together. They're making up for their losses by basically taxing the heck out of their players and causing them financial hardship. So it's pretty clear that the casinos really only care about one thing, and it's not the players. Now, I'm a guy who really, really doesn't want to say anything negative about anyone or anything, really. But I'm going to be saying some pretty negative stuff in this video. Like I said, I'm very upset about what happened, and I just think it's wrong on so many levels. So I'm going to be talking some madness in this video, and I'm very sorry. I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm basically just calling it as it is, okay? But we'll get some training out of this video, and I think that's gonna really help. I like to show you guys my training method. I'm gonna show you in just a moment, okay? So, getting back to my story. My first game there, minimum bet table is $15, and I played, and I knew I didn't have the stakes to survive. So my strategy that I used was I took $30. I put it on the don't pass, okay? I would then roll the dice. And I would establish a point. Now let's just say, for all intents and purposes, let's just say the point was a 4, okay? And remember, I'm the shooter, so I got $30 on the don't pass, okay? I got my money here for place bets, and what I did was I put those place bets on the 6 and 8, okay? Now, that had to be like $18 each for the 6 and 8s. I'm very confident that I can hit the 6 and 8s, so that's actually the number that I aim for. Now, once the dice was rolled, and let's just say I hit an 8, or I hit an 8 or a 6 or whatever, I would then take these place bets down. Okay. I would then, of course, I can't remove the place chips, okay, but I can put money on the pass line to hedge it out. So whatever number, if I hit my 4, great. If not, I didn't lose any money. Okay, and I kept doing that until I was winning some money. Ultimately, with that strategy, I incurred some losses. There was one point when I had money on the don't come, and of course someone hit their point, and that was gone and everything. Long story short, I walked away from that table with a $1 profit. So I made $1 after playing for about an hour. Okay, now that's not so bad. Okay, the way I look at it, if you walk away from a table and you broke even, you pretty much won, because the casino still wasn't able to get your money. Okay, so you got some play in and you really didn't lose any money, so that's the next best thing to, of course, walking away with a good profit. All right. It's like I said, the most important thing you can do in a fight is not get hit. People think the most important thing you can do is win. Some fights are simply unwinnable, and some fights, of course, are winnable, but at a big cost. Okay, so winning isn't always the most important thing you can do. Sometimes it is, but generally speaking, in a fight, the most important thing you can do is not get hit. Okay, so that was a fight that I went where I was shorthanded. I was outgunned, whatever. I didn't have enough money to make it, but I still managed to not lose any money. Okay, that's skillful play. All right, so now I'm gonna get to the real thing, the real story, the story that really ticks me off. Okay, so I was pretty much playing craps for the whole weekend that I was there. But I was like, I would win in one game, I would lose in another game, I would win in one game, I would lose in another game. So I was pretty much even Steven. Okay, I remember I lost like I lost like $20 in one game, and then I went and I won like $33 in another game. Okay, this was ridiculous. I mean, I couldn't believe that. And like I said, breaking even is better than losing. But I couldn't believe that I just wasn't able to make a profit. I wasn't able to make a profit. The game where I won the 30 something dollars, boy, I started playing with about 200, and then I was down to like my last 40. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I really thought it was going to be a losing session, but I started hitting numbers like crazy, and of course I made the money back, and I even walked away with like a $30 profit, and I was like, okay, great. So I basically have enough money for cab fare back to my hotel. So yeah, the last game where I played, this is the thing that takes me off. So I don't know, it's kind of late at night, and I go down to play craps, and because the 6-foot rule is being observed, essentially it's very hard to get into a game, okay, because you got people who are like standing in line to get into a game. All right, so there I was standing in line, and I'm looking at the player, and he's in the dealer position, or he's in the position under the gun to the immediate left of the stick man, which I call the dealer position. And this guy has $20 left in chips. The minimum bet is $10, okay, which isn't so bad. I have about $100. Okay, so this guy has $20 in front of him. All right, now I'm sitting here waiting to play, and this guy is taking a real long time to lose. Okay, so essentially I waited for nearly an hour, and one of the reasons he was taking so long is because he was actually doing what I like to do. Is he would wait till the dice come around to him. He wouldn't bet on anything. He would wait till the dice came around to him, and then that's when he would put his money down on the pass line and stuff, and he would throw, and he was getting some lucky numbers in, so he was hitting some of the numbers, and that's what was getting him to last so long. Okay, and I understand that because I play the same way, so I really can't fault him for playing like that. It's just kind of a pain in the butt because it's late and I'm trying to get in the game and I can't. All right, so I finally get in. The guy goes broke. He leaves, and I finally get my position. So now I'm thinking, okay, now I can play. All right. This experience traumatized me, guys. So I start playing. I pick up it's my turn to shoot. I put money down on the pass line. And my strategy for this game was only to do pass line bets with maybe one of the place bets. Okay? This is actually one of my favorite grinder strategies. So the way it works is I'll put down $10 on the pass line, and then I will establish a point. And let us just say that my point is a 5. Okay, I will then put $10 on the 9. Okay, and then I will of course preset the dice to the 5s and the 9s. Let me just do that right now. I feel like I'm opening up a pill bottle with this thing. Okay, so I would preset the dice to the 5s and 9s. Oops, that's not the way you do it. There we go. We have the 5s and the 9s almost all around except for on the sides right there. You see 9, 9, 5. Okay, except for on the inner, that's where you get the differences. But other than that, it's 5 9s all around. Okay, then of course I will throw the dice, and let's just say I hit a 9. I'll take down my profits, and I'll take down my place bet. And then the next thing I'm going to focus on is trying to hit the 9 in order to win on the pass line. Now, a lot of times I'll be throwing a lot of numbers. I'm just putting numbers out there, and people are like, why don't you bet on these other numbers? I mean, you could like have all these place bets covered. You can like maybe do the field, or maybe you can do hard ways, whatever crazy bets people like to make. I'm not doing that. Okay, here's why. This is a grinder method that I actually derived from my playing craps at home, and of course playing craps online. I'm about 60%. I'm about 60% to make my point as a controlled shooter. Okay. That means typically out of 10 rolls, I'll hit my point like 6 times for win. Of course, I win more than I lose. Now, that being said, I don't win a whole lot of money playing this way, okay? But I don't lose a whole lot of money either. If I don't hit one of my numbers, let's say the 9 in this case, if I don't hit that within 5 rolls, I take it down, okay? Even though I'm a controlled shooter, I observe the 5 roll rule, meaning that most players are going to 7 out within 5 rolls. So usually around the 4th or 5th roll, I'll take it down. Okay. And then the only thing I have to worry about at that point is, of course, the pass line. Now, you could do it like this. You could put $10 on the don't pass, try to hit the other number, and if you don't hit the other number and you're not sure if you're going to 7 out or not, you could hedge out the pass line bets so that you don't win, you don't really lose either, and it's just a matter of you hitting that number. As a controlled shooter, that works. I don't like to do that because like I said, out of all the rolls that I've done, like where I've actually taken the video, like I said, on average, I'm about 60% to hit that point. So I actually believe that I make money on the pass line. So that's why I play that way. Okay. So I'm not worried about all these other numbers. All right. I'm not worried about all these other bets. I'm just worried about hitting 1 or 2 bets at a time. And in this particular game that I was playing, this strategy was working for me. Wasn't making very much money, but I was actually doing pretty good. Okay, so I'm playing, and in all the games that I played, I hit my point. I think there was like 8 games, and I hit my point 6 times. I 7'd out twice. Okay, and also in the games that I played, I in the games that I played, I also, of course, hit the other number. So if my point was a 5, I put money on the 9. I hit that, I took it down, and I was doing pretty good. Now I had some little losses here and there. There was a time I would put on the money on the pass line. I don't hedge anything. I don't put craps check up there. I don't do none of that. I'm just very simple. Pass line, 7-11 I'm going to win, or I'm going to establish a point, or 2, 3, and 12 I'm going to lose. Okay, I do it real simple like that. And I would throw the dice, and I would roll a 12, and that just goes bye-bye. So I had a couple little incidents like that. But all in all, in less than an hour of play, I was up about $80 playing that way. Okay, even with a few little losses here and there. So let's get down to the thing that pissed me off. Okay, there was a gentleman playing on the other side of the stick, man. He was a Caucasian gentleman, about a little older, I would say maybe 50s, tall, thin, well-dressed, and the most important thing is he had a huge, and this doesn't do him no justice right here, what I got. He had a huge stack of green chips. And this guy was putting stacks of green chips down on each number. Just like that. Okay? And I was hitting all these numbers. So he's making money, and that green chip stack of his is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? And he's doing pretty well. I mean, this guy just has them like that. Okay, in each and every lousy roll, he has them like that. So, I'm concerned about this man. Okay, here's why. Because I know that as a controlled shooter, I can hit certain numbers more than others. Like I said, on average, I'm about 60% to hit my point. Okay. That being said, while I have some control over the dice, I don't have complete control of the dice. Okay. So, long story short, that 7 is freaking coming. Okay. Right? Cinco dos adios. Right? Adios to all those wonderful green chips you see right there. I don't know how much money this guy had. This guy probably had like $1,000 in front of him. That green chip stack that he had was just humongous. I mean, it covered his table. I couldn't believe it. Okay, so he keeps doing this. All right, but I keep hitting all the numbers. So he's doing all right. He's making some money. Okay, I told him. I said, sir, I came out here, I did, before I went to Vegas, I did 1,000 rolls, okay, on this training area that I have here. I did 1,000 rolls, and I was really trying to sharpen up my game, but I think he must have thought that maybe I can, keep rolling all night long without a 7. I don't know. At one point, I yelled at him to take his chips down. Okay, I don't know if he didn't hear me, or maybe if he didn't understand what I was saying because I was wearing my COVID-19 mask. I don't know if maybe he heard me and understood, but decided that he didn't want to do that. I don't know, but he kept those chips up there. All right. And of course the inevitable happened. I roll a 7, and just like that, these chips are gone. All right. So here's where the story gets interesting. When I started playing, I asked there was a Filipino lady in front of me. Okay, I asked her. I said, "What number would you like me to hit?" And she didn't answer that question. Okay, she just kind of looked away. She was like kind of crabby a little bit. Okay, so I said, "Okay, how about this? I'll hit either the 4 or the 10. All right, how about that?" So I preset the dice, of course, to the 4 and the 10. I preset the dice to the 4 and the 10. Okay, and I throw the dice, and bam, it's a 10. Okay, now once I establish my point, and it's a freaking 10. I then told the lady, I said, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start hitting 6s and 8s. So I preset the dice to 3V. All right, 6 and 8s. I put 2 place bets down on the 6s and 8s. Okay, and I started hitting those 6s and 8s. And I'm laughing and I'm talking all this madness and everything, and I'm basically being an arrogant little prick, and I'm talking all this mess, and I keep hitting my numbers. At one point, my point number was a 5. I told the lady, I said, "Well, there's an answer for that too." And I preset the dice to, of course, the 5s and the 9s, and I hit the 5 on the first roll. Okay, now I'm getting these serious looks from the casino staff. They're all staring at me. Okay, they're all staring at me. Okay, even the lady, the Filipino lady, they're all staring at me. When I got up to the table, they were all talking about how they just got back to work, and they were all talking about how they want to take PTO, and right now the casino's not giving any PTO. They're talking about all this stuff. They went from that to being quiet and just staring at me. Okay, but they started being mean about it. Okay, so I'm sitting there playing, and I'm playing for a long time. I'm getting thirsty, and I'm looking around, and I don't see the service lady anywhere. So I asked them. I said, "Do you guys think maybe you can call for service so I can get something to drink here?" And the stick man goes, "Just roll the dice." Real rude and everything. So I'm like, all right. So I'm rolling, and I'm still hitting my numbers. I'm still winning, and he's getting pissed off. The lady, the Filipino lady, she's been mad at me. I actually stopped talking to her because she was just giving me like dirty looks and stuff. So and when I sevened out, I wouldn't make any bets. I was doing what that young man did right before I got here. I wouldn't make any bets. Now everybody else keeps making bets, and the man who's in the position across from me, in his high roller fashion, just keeps putting a stack of green chips on each number, just like that, on every single roll. I couldn't believe it, and people kept 7ing out. Okay, the only guy who really wasn't 7ing out at the table was me. Now, I saw a couple of guys come, and I seen them my whole weekend in Vegas. I seen guys attempting to do controlled shooting, and I'm very glad I have this in front of you because I want to show you what these guys are doing. Okay, I see guys who are attempting to be controlled shooters. I watched them preset the dice. Okay, let's just say they're trying to hit the 5s and the 9s. I see them presetting the dice. What I do whenever I preset the dice, okay, is I get a nice little grip on them. I'm going to make sure these dice stay together, Okay, I'm going to get a nice little grip on them. I'm going to make sure they stay together. I'm going to stand up straight. I'm going to hold the dice just like this. Okay, I bring this dice to my, and in this case, it would actually be my left shoulder, but I bring it to about shoulder length, and then I rotate it out, and I throw it. Let's refocus here. And I throw the dice, and the dice are kind of like this in the air. I let go of it with all my fingers at the same time, and they're kind of like this in the air. Sometimes I can see them turning just like that in the air. Okay, they land, and when they land, a lot of times they're still together, and a lot of times they'll hardly turn at all. They'll turn like one face. You know what I mean? They'll turn like one face over. So, I really got my act down the way I throw it. Okay, these other controlled shooters that I've been seeing at the tables, their methods are inadequate, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, this controlled shooter that was at the table, I saw him carefully presetting his dice. I saw him put the dice together, and I'm kind of, I'm kind of like nodding my head in approval because I see this. But then he gets the dice, and he goes like that, and then he just throws it. Okay, so he's presetting the dice, but he's not actually using controlled shooting. When I see him doing this, that's very, very bad, because if you can actually watch, the dice are actually kind of separating. When I do that, the dice are actually just kind of separating. They're kind of like rubbing together, and they're kind of separating. And when you throw them, they're not going to stay together, and you're going to get random results. Okay? So I've seen a lot of guys who are doing this, and that's a mistake. Okay? The dice, whenever you're doing controlled shooting, guys, the dice are not supposed to move. You get them, you preset them, you get them together. I'm going to use my actual grip here. The dice are not supposed to move. Okay, they're supposed to stay together. Okay, they're supposed to stay together, just like that. And of course, I bring it up to my left shoulder, and I throw it. And when I throw it, I rotate it. I mean, it goes flying in the air, kind of like that. And like I said, sometimes I can just see the numbers looking back at me when they're going down, and everything. And I even work on my eye-hand coordination, so I'll hit a single point at the table and everything, and the dice will land and stuff, and I hit a lot of numbers that way. Okay, the idea behind controlled shooting, okay, it's not called controlled shooting because you're controlling the numbers that comes up. It's called controlled shooting because you're controlling the amount of force that's projected through the dice. Okay, so if you pick up these dice and you throw them, essentially what's going to happen is that if you throw them too hard, they land, they bounce everywhere, and because they land hard and they bounce everywhere, and the dice practically bounce back to where you are, that's when you get random numbers because they tumble. The harder you throw these dice, the more they're going to bounce and tumble. And you see all of these different numbers that's coming up? That's exactly what's going to happen. Okay? So it's not called controlled shooting because you're controlling the numbers that come up. It's called controlled shooting because you're controlling the amount of force that's projected through the dice. The lighter you throw these dice, the more they stay together, the less they tumble, the less random numbers you get. Okay? Does that make sense? That's how you hit certain numbers more than others. Okay? Which brings me to my next point. There was, I forgot about these guys. There was a team of controlled shooters over at the D casino. Okay? It was 3 young Caucasian gentlemen. and they were all attempting controlled shooting, and their methods were inadequate. Okay, one guy was picking the dice up. I saw him preset the dice. I saw that everything is good, except for when he picked up the dice, he threw them way too hard. Way too hard. I'm talking, he went, oh, like that. And they went all the way over, across the table and hit the wall and bounced everywhere and tumbled. And, of course, he 7'd out. And what made it even worse was these guys would put like, I kid you not, man, they would put like a stack of green on the pass line and stuff. They would hit like 1 or 2 numbers, and then they'd be like, yeah, they'd be doing all that sort of thing. But then because they weren't shooting correctly, they would like lose, and then that money would go bye-bye. Okay, so one guy would preset the dice, and he would pick up the dice correctly, and he would toss the dice, and he wasn't using that much force. But where he was going wrong is, you see where these hardway numbers are. It's almost like he would be aiming for the hardway numbers. The dice would hit around the hardways and tumble all the way to the wall. Okay, so he was allowing his dice to tumble. And go all the way back to the wall, which of course you get random results. Now I'm going to do a little experiment here. Right now I'm sitting down in a chair and I'm holding a camera, a cell phone camera, of course. I'm holding a camera, but you see where it's pass line over there on the other side of the table? What I'm going to attempt to do, even though I do not have the proper position and I'm holding a camera, what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to throw these dice, okay, and I'm aiming for the pass line area. What I want, imagine that green chips is the wall. What I want is I want these dice to hit the pass line area, bounce up, touch the wall, and land it again. And I got it preset to the 4s and the 10s. Let's see what happens, okay? Oh, bad news. Now, I was able to hit, the dice hit about like right here. They hit and they tumbled, but as you can see, it's a freaking 7. Now, I had it preset to the 4s and 10s. Okay, here's one of the 6 and the 4. There's one of them right there. All right. So let me try that again. All right, and I'm going to try to make sure I get a good shot of where they land. I'm trying to get a good shot of where they land. And again, I'm holding a camera, okay? So I shouldn't be able to do this, but watch. Now, do you see where they hit just do you see where they hit like just above right here, and then they hit the wall, and they hit the wall, and of course I got the snake eyes this time, but I'm holding a camera, guys. So that's a little difficult. That's what you want to do, though. Even though I didn't hit the numbers that I wanted. Even though I didn't hit the numbers that I wanted. Let me try it this way. Oh, they tumbled a little bit too much. But I preset it to the 4s and 10s. And there you have it. Okay. Now, do you see how they didn't really tumble that much? They kind of hit the pass line area. They kind of hit the pass line area. That one landed in the cum a little bit. They bounced up, they hit the wall, and that was that. Look at, it's a 7. Ew. that's all right. I still hit that 10. And I was holding a camera while I was doing it. So, but this guy was doing this. This is what he was doing. He would pick up the dice, he would throw it, and it would go like this. That's no good. I don't even know what that number is over there. But essentially, he hit an 8. Okay, so, but that's what they were doing. The dice would just roll. They would hit the hardware areas, and then they tumble all the way through. Oops, don't want to forget these. So, their methods were inadequate, and that whole team lost. If you have a team of controlled shooters, and you guys get your butts kicked that badly, I don't even want to say what that means, but we all we all pretty much know. Excuse me. If I had a team of controlled shooters, okay, I would crush the casinos. There's no way I'd be losing. Now, another common mistake that I see with a lot of these controlled shooters and gamblers in general is they are betting way too much on each and every roll, on any given bet. They're just betting way too much. You saw me preset the dice to the 4s and 10s. You saw me throw it holding a camera in my hands. Okay, the first one was a 7, the second one was snake eyes, but I hit that 10 on the third roll. I hit that 10 within 3 rolls. Okay, and each and every time I preset it to the 4s and 10s. Okay, I'm about 60% to hit my point. Okay, I would never, even if I had, unless I had like $1 million, okay, I would never do this right here. I would never bet a stack of greens on the pass line, okay, unless I had $1 million and I was playing in like a high stakes, craps thing. This would not happen, okay. And these guys are not rich. The gentleman that I was playing at the Excalibur, my last game, okay, he only had like, I'm thinking like $1,000, okay? He's gonna lose. You gotta think to yourself, if a controlled shooter is 60% to hit his point, okay, that means 4 times out of 10, he's gonna roll a 7, okay, on average. Now, I've had times when I played like 10 games, and I 7'd out like maybe once or twice, okay? But on average, I'm about 60%. If you take all my rolls all together, that's what it is, okay? And so there you have it. You're about 40% to lose that, okay? Generally speaking. And those are not good odds, okay? You got to look at it like this. It's almost like you're a criminal and the casinos are the cops, okay? The cops have the luxury of being able to hit and miss, okay? But you can't really afford to miss, because when you miss, you go to jail. Well, the casinos can play this game all day because they got the money, okay? So that's not a problem at all for them. This is a problem for you, because if the casinos lose this, they'll get it back in no time, okay? But if you lose this, ay caramba, you're just bullshit creek without a paddle, okay? You just don't have no money now. So, you see what I'm saying? So the casinos can do this all day, all night long, okay? But you can't, okay? So, let's get to my story, because I know I got off, and I'm sorry, I got off point. But essentially, with my story is, this guy was betting these stacks, and he was betting on every single shooter, and he was losing, okay? Me, The only time I would bet is when the dice came around to me, just like the young man did before me, just like I've been doing for, I don't know, what, an hour? I've been playing that way. I would not bet anything on anyone until the dice came around to me. And to my, and I have to say, I have to take responsibility. I was hitting a lot of numbers, and I was being arrogant, and I was showboating with the casino staff. I never said anything inappropriate, but I did, say, see that, I win. I was talking all this mess and everything. So finally, my friend on the other side of the stick, man, he's now dwindling. I look over at his stack, and he only has a green stack like that left. Okay, I think I'm up like $80. Okay, at this point, the casino lady, the Filipino lady, she tells me, she says, you put bet down, and I'm not the shooter. You put bet down on pass line. So I put the bet down. And then I asked her, I said, why am I putting the bet down? And she said, because you only bet when dice come to you. If you do not bet, we cannot give you dice. You not allowed to shoot. So I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I can tell she's mad. Okay, and I've been like, so arrogant, talking all this mess and everything. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. So I put money down on the pass line. Well, the guy 7'd out. So I put another minimum bet on the pass line with the next shooter, because she's telling me that they're not going to let me shoot unless I do that. That guy 7's out. Okay, so I'm doing this, and I'm hoping someone will hit their points, but they're not. At one point, I put money on the don't come, and now somebody hit their point. And I couldn't believe it. It's like any answer I gave was wrong. Okay? Now I'm starting to lose. And I got angry. I managed to get a bottle of water, but that was only because I literally left the table, went upstairs. I was staying on the 6th floor, went up to the 6th floor, went up to the vending machine, got myself a bottle of water, and went back down there, and that was how I was able to get something to drink. They wouldn't even send me the service person. Okay? So they were kind of being rude to me, and they were kind of, they were kind of like, making me make these bets that were not good. All right, and when it came down for me to shoot the dice, I saw the guy. He put his remaining stack of greens down, and I 7'd out, and they took it. Well, they got my $10. Okay. And he didn't have any more money left. And before he left, he screamed. He was like, "Fuck!" And he just walked away. He wouldn't even look at me, and I got so upset. I felt so bad for this guy. Oh my God. And I'm mad at the casino workers. I'm mad at the Filipino dealer that made me place these bets. I'm sure she's a nice lady and all, but I was mad at her. But here's the thing. I see where she's coming from. Okay, I was legit being a little jerk. I was being arrogant, and I was showboating. I was being foolhardy, and I got what I had coming to me. All right, so now I'm back down to my original $100. Okay, and I'm back down to my original $100 that I was playing with. And I think to myself, like, you know what? If they're going to force me to bet, I'm going to end up losing this. Okay, and I'm not going to lose this. So I tell them, I said, color me up. So they take my chips, of course, and they give me some money. The dealer goes, oh, we have a quitter, like that. And I just looked at him. I just looked at him when he said that. He was like, "Oh, we have a quitter," like he's making fun of me. I try to imitate people, but that's how he said it, and I was like, I was so mad. They gave me my chips, and I took my chips, and I looked at them and I said, "You guys are all a bunch of cheating sons of bitches," and I just left. And I'm sure they probably got upset, but I didn't care. I was just mad. And even though I didn't really lose any money, I should have left when I had that $80. That at the very least would have been something. Even though I didn't lose any money, I saw the guy that was on the other side of the stick man. He did lose money. Okay. So that kind of upset me. That really upset me. And I felt in some way that I failed him. Okay. I felt like I was being arrogant. Although I did tell him to take those bets down. I don't know if he didn't hear me. I don't know if he wasn't listening. I don't know what the situation was, but he didn't do it, and he ended up losing all that money. I was trying to explain to him that it's advisable to take the bets down after 5 rolls. He saw me doing it. I would put money down on a place bet, but if I didn't hit it within 5 rolls, I take it down. Okay, and I'm kind of looking at him, and he's not getting the hint. And then at one point, I straight up told him, take it down, but he's not listening, and he ended up losing that money. Okay, so I get up to my hotel room, and I think to myself, I say, Rick, what just went wrong? And it's real easy for me to blame the casino workers. Okay, it's real easy for me to say, they were being lousy, and to some extent they were, but it's like I said, I have to look at this from their perspective. Okay, COVID-19 couldn't have been easy for them. Okay, they're out of work for a couple of months. I'm sure they're having financial difficulties. They're now having to get dragged back to work. Half of them don't even want to be there. They want to take PTO. The casino won't give them PTO. They're complaining about it while the game is going. So I understand their frustrations. And it doesn't make it easier when a loudmouth jerk comes along, like me, comes along and starts playing and, winning and showboating and everything. That would have made me mad too. So I kind of look at it from their perspective. I said, I was being a little prick to that poor little Filipino lady. She seems like she's a nice lady, and I kept, making these little comments like, oh yeah, watch this. I'm gonna show you a magic trick. I'm gonna make that 9 appear, and I would throw the dice, and it would be a 9, and I'd be like, ha, it's magic. But she wasn't amused. She's just kind of like, looking away and stuff. And I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so flamboyant, But I don't know. We can argue to the ends of the earth who's right and who's wrong there, okay? But I'll tell you one thing I did for sure that was wrong, okay? And the casino staff did kind of change the game on me. because the young man who had only $20 that I was waiting on, he was doing the same thing. Nobody told him nothing. Okay, he did the same thing that I was doing, but he was losing, so they didn't tell him anything. All right, so I get up there and I'm winning. Now they're gonna say something to me. Okay, here's where I made the mistake. I exposed myself. Okay, I showed them what I can do, and they didn't like it. And maybe they took offense to my arrogance. Okay, I was being arrogant, and I said to myself, I said, Rick, that's a mistake. You should not be so arrogant. You should not be so showboating so much. That's just wrong. You shouldn't do that. So I'm changing my policy. Oh, and here's another thing too. I never tip the casino staff. Okay, I just don't. The reason I don't tip them is because the way I look at it, there's an adversarial relationship there. They are not on my side. Okay, they are on the casino side, and they don't want to see you win. Like I just showed you, they saw me winning, and they start forcing me to make these bets, and they're trying to get me to lose. Okay, which to some degree they succeeded. They didn't get my original stake, but they were still trying to get me to lose. That's why I never tipped the dealers. Okay, but I think I'm going to change that policy. I think I'm going to start tipping the dealers now. And the reason being is because I got to kind of bribe them to let me play the way I want, right? So I think what I'm going to start doing is I'll probably be like, okay, let's put some money down on the hard ways for the dealers, okay? And that should suffice to, that gives them an incentive, a financial incentive to let me play the way I want. And that's what I'm going to start doing differently. And from here on out, I am not going to be showboating anymore, because that is actually what caused me to lose. Because as soon as I exposed myself to them, that's when they started developing the countermeasure to circumvent my controlled shooting technique and my limited betting strategy. Okay, alright, so now we're going to do some training. And I'm sorry if this video is being long, and I really hope I'm not boring anybody. This is going to be very, very simple. I'm only going to take you guys through about maybe 2 or 3 games. Okay, so this is what I like to do. I'm going to write down, I'm going to preset the dice to the 4s and 10s. Okay, and I'm going to do this across the board, meaning for every come out roll, it's going to be 4s and 10s. Okay, so let me just take a moment to preset these dice to the 4s and 10s. There we go. Now, whenever you're training, it's very important to write down your results. Okay, I have this notebook here, and I have a lot of my, I don't have all of them, but I have a lot of my controlled, I have a lot of my shooting in here. I pick up the dice. They're nice and sturdy. They're together. Okay, I got a nice little grip on them. Let me just kind of show you. I'm not supposed to be moving that much. Oh no, I made a mess. Okay, so let me just fix this real quick. I'm going to put $10 down on the pass line, and it's going to be my come out roll. I'm going to scoot this chair back, and I wouldn't be standing at the edge of the table because that wouldn't really be much of a roll for me. Gotta get this chair out the way. So I'm going to stand back, and I'm going to throw the dice. It's a little difficult with, again, holding the camera. I'm aiming, you see the pass line area? That's what I'm aiming for. I want the dice to hit the pass line, touch the wall, and stay relatively together. Now let's see if I can pull this off with a camera in my hands. Remember, I have it preset to the 4s and 10s. Okay, so it is a 5. So then what I do is I got my pen here. I'm going to I'm going to circle the 5. Oops, I shouldn't have put that there. Never mind. Now I'm going to take some money and I'm going to put it on the 9. Now, remember when I was telling you that you have to have a minimum of 40 bets to play the game correctly? Okay, what is this? This is $20 that I'm betting right here. So this would be like the minimum bet, because I got a bet here and I got a bet here. So it's actually $20. Okay, so if all I needed was $10, then of course my minimum bet is $400. I mean, my minimum bankroll is $400. If it's 20, it's $800. Okay, but I think I'll be just fine with what I got. So I've preset the dice to the 5s and the 9s. Okay, I like these Palms dice, these Palms Casino dice. They're so cool. You see how I did that with that grip? Very delicate, very careful, but very sturdy grip. Okay, I step back. I got the dice in front of me. I bring the dice up to my left shoulder, and then I rotate it out. I'm going to throw it. Remember, I got it preset to the 5s and the 9s. So they hit. Remember how I had it preset to the 5s and the 9s? The 2s are on top. They hit about right here somewhere, and then they moved a little bit, okay? But they stayed relatively together, and they really didn't move hardly that much, okay? So I got it preset to the 5s and 9s again. I have my point circled. Oh my goodness, I didn't put the on button on. Oops, I totally forgot. That's a small detail, you know. I really have that more for looks than anything else. Let's see if I can hit that a 5 or the 9. Oh no, that was a bad roll. This one's a 5. That one's a 5. So I rolled 2 5s with that. Alright, so that was a bad roll because I threw them a little too hard. When they bounce back like that, that means you're throwing them that means you're throwing them too hard. But I'm holding a camera in my hands, so my technique is a little off. Alright, and I'm trying to do this. It's kind of difficult. I really need to get sophisticated camera stuff. That one was a little better. But as you can see, I hit the 9s. Okay, so now I'm going to pay myself, right? It's actually $14. Now I'm going to pay myself. And I'm going to take down my place bet because I hit it. I am now going to preset the dice to 5s and 9s again. And I'm hoping to hit that 5 to win on the pass line. I think my cell phone's starting to run out of juice. Okay, so with the camera in my hands and all, I'm going to try to hit it. Here we go. Now, This one bounced back a little bit too much, so there was a little bit too much force. Okay, they do hit somewhere around in this area and touch the wall and come back. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna try this again. But as you can see, a lot of times the 3 or the 2 is on top, which means the dice aren't changing that many faces, which means they're not tumbling that much. That one was a little bit too much force. Let's see me hit it. Oh no! That wasn't good. Way too much force. But I still hit a 9. Okay. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, like, Rick, if you still had that place bet 9, you would have made some money right there. Okay. It's better to hit that 9 and take it down than it is to leave it up. As soon as you start to get greedy in this game, or in any gambling game for that matter, that's when you start to lose money. Okay, so let's a little too much force in that one. But as you can see, the 2 is on top right here, and the 2 is on top right there. Okay, still somewhat favorable results, even though we actually haven't hit the number yet. That tells me I'm on the right track. Okay, if I see something like the 6 and the 5, I know that there's a little bit of randomization in the dice right there. Okay, and I know I'm a little off, but if I set them to the 5s and the 9s, and whenever I roll them, I consistently see either the 2 or the 3 on the top, I know I'm on the right track. Even though I've been throwing these a little too hard. This one's an 8. Oh my god, I'm forgetting. Okay, so I hit my 9, right? I think I did that like right off the bat. And then what was the number after that I hit? Okay, when I underline it that way, that means that's one of the numbers I was aiming for. Okay, now sometimes I write down how much money I won with that. So that was $14. I write down how much, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just write down the numbers. I know I hit the 10 at one point. I hit an 8 right there. I write my numbers down. Okay, and that's how. Remember, I tell you I'm at like 60%. That's how I'm able to establish that, because I'll do a little bit of statistics later to establish very carefully, very delicately. Even though I picked them up as delicate as I did, the process of me walking, I can feel them moving just a little bit. I reestablish my grip. Okay, very sturdy. 5 of the 9. There it is. There's the 5. So I went on the pass line. And there you have it. I missed a couple of my numbers. I know there's a couple numbers I didn't record. I got a little ahead of myself. Okay. But as you can see, I hit that. I preset it to the 5s and 9s. I hit the 5. I hit the 9. Now, this table, I'm going to get back a little bit. This table is not very big. It's not very long. Although there are some tables that are very short in Vegas. This wouldn't be very realistic training if I were standing at the edge of this table, right, and throwing the dice over here where I can practically almost reach it, okay, that's why I get all the way back here and I throw it. This is a little bit more realistic. As you can see, that's quite some distance. Because you got to remember, I'm to the immediate left of the stick man. I'm always to the immediate left of the stick man. And that's another thing that I see controlled shooters doing. They get, like I said, a lot of them, their methods are inadequate. They don't get the shooter position or the stick man position. They'll go all the way to the very end of the table and they'll just throw their dice. And some of them even let them tumble a little bit like that. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, so there's that. When you're doing these games, I like to do 10 of them. Okay, you go down to your 10th game, and you go down to your 10th game, and you look at how many numbers you hit and how many numbers you didn't. Don't get discouraged if you 7 out a lot, okay? The main thing is that you're practicing, okay? And you're writing your results down. Because you want to know more or less where you stand in terms of how likely you are to hit it. Like I said, for me, it's about 60%, okay? So, because I'm 60%, I know for a fact, whenever I go to the tables, I know for a fact I'm going to hit my numbers. And I recorded some of my games live. I still have some more material I haven't showed you guys. I'm going to publish those as soon as I can. I've run into some technical issues with that. And of course, I've been busy with work and COVID-19 didn't help. But I will publish those very soon. My games, guys, you see me hitting my point within 2 or 3 rolls. Okay, you see me hitting my point consistently over and over and over again. Okay, heck, you saw me doing it right. You saw me hit my point, the 5 and the 9 that I was aiming for. Okay, and I had a camera in my hands. That makes it a little bit more difficult. Okay, so if I can do it under these conditions, I can do it under, other conditions where I'm, a little closer and, of course, don't have anything in my hands. This camera kind of stifles me. Okay, so, yeah, I can do, and like I said, I can do it. Oops, I forgot to turn my bed off. So, to recap, the mistakes that a controlled shooter will make, of course, is showboating. You're not supposed to showboat. No more of that. I'm all done with that. Tip the dealers, because that'll get them to kind of like leave you alone a little bit. I'm going to start doing that from here on out. Okay, you can't really tip them too much. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start betting on the hard ways and stuff. And I'll be like, this is for the dealer, whatever. And then, of course, when it comes to the actual controlled shooting itself, you got to pick the dice up. I'm going to show you the grip. You got to pick the dice up. I stand up straight when I pick these dice up. I stand up straight. Okay, I bring it, I look and I aim. I bring it up to my left shoulder. Okay, I breathe. I exhale as I'm throwing the dice. Okay, what I want is I want the dice to hit about right here, touch, and then fall. And I want it to do it very lightly. As you saw, they would hit, but this dice would be like here. When I see that, I know I'm throwing them too hard. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I throw them a little too hard. I still hit my numbers. Okay, if I can just get the force just right, maybe I can get that 60% to be 70 or 80. Well, it's pretty good. And one of the games that I played, I think of like 14 rolls, I hit my point like 8 times. And then that's not even counting all the little place bets that I was hitting. that I was actually aiming for, that I was call. And what I'll do is I'll call the numbers out. Okay, I'll preset the dice, just like you saw me do with the 5s and the 9s. I'll call the number out, I'll preset it to the 5s and the 9s, I'll throw it and I'll hit it, okay? To me, it doesn't count otherwise. If you don't call it, if you don't preset it, okay, don't hit your numbers. I was trying to do that. That doesn't work. Okay, so I think I beat the dead horse enough. I hope I didn't bore you guys. I hope you learned something watching this video. And I hope you continue to watch my videos. I have more material I'm going to publish. This is Ricky Thomas with Advantage Gambling Concepts. And I hope you guys make a lot of money. Thank you for watching. Bye.